It's early morning on the 6th of July. We're about to set sail for Spain. This is the sunrise this morning. It's absolutely beautiful. Get a picture of it before we get underway. The mainsail is up and we're underway. It's absolutely stunning sunrise this morning. And you can see how flat calm it is, but this is all about to change by tomorrow. 30 knots of wind blowing through here from the east, believe it or not. So we're hoping to take advantage of those winds on our overnight tonight to Spain. That's goodbye Italy. If you look carefully, there is a gap here, and that's the one we're going through. You can see the end of the headland here, and we'll go around that. Here comes the sun, just picking up on the horizon behind the clouds. That's just taking our turn to port to actually go through this narrow channel that takes us out into the western Mediterranean. We officially leave the Tahirian Sea once we're through here. Turning around. Another yacht going through as well. And come around, you'll actually see the opening much clearer. There it is. A bit of a dog leg. It's flat calm.
Low. Will we go back?
No, definitely not. As you can see, not a very wide channel at all. Rocks on either side. Waves breaking. We're almost through. Depths are increasing as well. Obviously starting to get lumpy again. A little fishing boat. Although the forecast had indicated winds out of the north, veering to the northeast and then the east during the course of our passage, there was barely a breath of wind initially, but a slight breeze picked up from the northeast, followed by a favourable current, increasing our speed over ground to just under 7 knots. Today is the 7th of July. We're on our way to the Menorca Islands, having left Sardinia yesterday morning. We've had an overnight. We're about just less than 20 nautical miles to go before we reach Menorca. But the weather changed rather drastically all of a sudden. Clear skies this morning, clear overnight, but it's very overcast now. The winds picked up. They veered to the east from the northeast and got rather blustery. We switched all the sails around, did what we needed to do, and then it all went back again. All back to northeasterly. Seas are slightly slighter now, but it's still very overcast. And I wish we could say we were sailing, but we only got to sail for about an hour on this whole trip. and that's it. The rest of the time we do motor sailing. Oh, we long for the trade winds. Apart from 1 or 2 yachts heading south down the west coast of Sardinia and 1 or 2 fishing boats, the only other company we had were cargo ships. So it's around 1 o'clock and we've just arrived on the island of Menorca and we're trying to make our way into the anchorage. Very lumpy between a lot of brick walls and rock. But hopefully we'll find a spot where we can just drop the hook and take a rest. Here's the starboard side. That looks like ruins, an old British fort, Roy says. You can see we're pretty close to the walls, but it's a narrow channel, very narrow channel. Down the channel, and ahead you can see the yachts that are anchored, so hopefully we'll find a spot. Well, that was strike one on trying to get anchored. Absolutely tiny anchorage with about 20 boats squeezed in. We found a spot, but unfortunately the holding was crap, so we left the anchor and we're trying another one. Here's a bit more footage. The ancient walls, you see, all built to protect the harbour. Channel we came out of, tried to get into the anchorage in the distance, and now we're coming around with the channel marker, heading down this one. Hopefully have more luck. And this is a view that we have as we come down this channel. This is on the starboard side, the rest of the fort. It's massive. And on this side there's all the modern homes. Close up of the bay that we've come up. It's a very large natural harbour. Very densely populated by the looks of it as well. While we didn't find a suitable anchorage anywhere in the large natural harbour, we did enjoy the beautiful historic sights from the water, including the fabulous homes cascading down the hillside towards the water. So after not being able to get anywhere to anchor in the harbour of Mahon, we've actually come down the east coast of Menorca and we're sailing along the south coast now and passing all various little coves and nooks and crannies, all with mostly a rock bottom. I'll zoom in so you can see the shoreline. Here you go. It's no cliffs, but it's all rock. So we're just continuing on until we find somewhere where we can actually anchor. This is our view from the helm station. All very picturesque, all very rocky, all cliffs. We've got to find somewhere to anchor along here. So all the information we've had on Menorca, and starting to wonder whether that's not the entire Balearic Islands, we're going to find out, is that the anchorages are not actually anchorages. They're just in the middle of nowhere, either on a rocky bottom, just an open roadstead, and then here's one here that is stipulated as an anchorage, and if I zoom in, it's full of local boats. Nobody can get in there, not even any room. So we are just continuing down this cliff face, basically, trying to find an anchorage. Well, after a very rolly night in this anchorage, It's not really an anchorage, a roadstead. We are underway again, going further along the south coast of Menorca in the hopes of finding something that resembles an anchorage. And yeah, if that doesn't work out, guess where we're heading? Further south. Motor down the south coast, we've noticed the cliffs are gone. It's very bad light with the sun, but it's still early morning here. But it's more green fields and trees, slightly wooded areas, and then a big hotel with another so-called anchorage all buoyed off. But with a bit of luck, you can see the swell that's running in. So won't be going there. So this is what's called an anchorage in Menorca. So I zoom right in, hopefully you can see the boat that's in there. It's two little fingers. One side on the right hand side has been buoyed off so you can't get in there. And on the other side there's room for one yacht and he's tied to the rocks. There's no ways Paw Paw is going to even fit in there. And here's another one of these so-called anchorages. Zoom in and see the little boat there. And little is the operative word. There's no ways Paw Paw will fit in there. With the sun a little higher in the sky, you can, if I zoom in, you can see the cliffs are back again all the way along, and we're hoping that there is somewhere to anchor around one of these corners. So here's another one of these anchorages, but this one has actually got yellow buoys to stop you from going in, but this little yacht has gone in anyway. But all we see is rock. It is a very picturesque area though, just not suitable for sailing unless you just want to do a road trip around the island. But to find anchorages, trying to get ashore, trying to get services, we need provisions, and unable to find it thus far. This is the other anchorage we found. It's supposed to be bigger. All looking a little dodgy, to be honest. There are boats in there, but look at the swell and the space. And I don't know where there are amenities here, but anyway, we'll go have a look. As we've progressed further west along the southern coast of Menorca, the sea state has become increasingly untenable. And I don't know, these are the waves breaking up against the cliffs. And this is right next door to an anchorage. Crazy weather. Last anchorage we were going to look at on the south coast, also looks pretty untenable, waves breaking everywhere, and there's nothing ashore, so it doesn't help us with getting provisions. So we've continued on. So we've reached the end of the south coast of Menorca, our road trip along it, basically full of anchorages that we couldn't use, untenable with a very strong southeast swell. But even if there wasn't a swell, they were all so tiny we wouldn't have gone into them anyway, full of rocks. And the ones that were slightly larger were packed with boats. Clearly a shortage of anchorages around here, or areas that you're allowed to anchor, maybe I should say, because there's plenty of nice anchorages, you're just not allowed to anchor in them. Somebody in their right spark wisdom decided that. Anyway, this is the lighthouse on the southwest corner of the island, and once we turn that, we'll be goodbye to the south coast of Menorca. Didn't see much, but anyway, so be it, and we'll try the west coast. Here's a closer up of the lighthouse as we round the corner and onto the west coast. So far we've tried the east coast, the whole of the south coast. We can't go to the north coast because that's all nature reserve now, anchoring not allowed. So our last resort is the west coast, and truly if we can't find anything here, I guess we have to hasta mañana across to Mallorca. So we've tried the east coast, we've tried the south coast, and we've now come up the west coast. We've found an anchorage, at least where other boats are, but it's exposed to the northwest, and unfortunately we do have a slight northwesterly breeze at the moment, but it's expected to pick up a little later this afternoon according to one of the many forecasts. Others don't have it picking up at all, just light and variable, so we'll see. But either way, we're here for the night at least. Probably head to Mallorca tomorrow, as we can't, this is another anchorage where we can't get ashore. As you can see, there's cliffs all the way around, but we are going to take the dinghy further up the coast to Akala, and hopefully we can beach the dinghy there and go for a walk, at least get some food. So after less than 24 hours in Menorca, we have weighed anchor and setting sail for Mallorca. Unfortunately, after we explored the east coast, the south coast and the west coast trying to find a tenable anchorage, we were unsuccessful. We did find an anchorage on the west coast, but after a half an hour of dropping the anchor, the northeasterly winds turned northwesterly and the swell came in, so that became untenable as well. We're unable to explore the north coast because that has become a nature reserve as of this year and anchoring is prohibited. Additionally, we had all the weekend revelers coming into the anchorage that we were in, causing absolute mayhem, anchoring on top of everybody that was there, and we really didn't feel like dealing with that. The last matter of the day was we couldn't get ashore anyway. We need provisions. We haven't been to a supermarket since we left mainland Italy. The last supermarket we got to was in Napoli. We were able to pick up some fruit in Menorca Island, and then again at the little campgrounds in Sardinia. Very slim pickings, but that sort of tided us over. But we're at the stage where we really do need to get some provisions. So we're saying adios to Menorca, and thanks for nothing other than a good dose of desert sand that is all over Paw and we now have to clean after the winds last night.